Hello there, my name is Barnabas, your data protection pal, and today I'd like to talk about this article that I received through my email from JD Supra, a website that reports about privacy and data protection all over the world. And this article is contributed by Legility. I hope I got the pronunciation correct. Now, Legility is a huge law firm, I believe based in the US, and they have featured a written article featuring the privacy laws of Singapore, the country that I hail from. Yes, it's a very tiny island state, 276 square miles. Yes, if you would like to know more about how big a country, let me give you a quick description. East to west, it's no more than 42 kilometers. North to south, not more than 25 kilometers. So we are really that small. And during this pandemic where we are not allowed to travel, or rather restricted travel, it's really quite painful staying in a tiny island state. But I'm still fortunate that our COVID situation is well controlled, and I'm just glad to be safe in Singapore. So I welcome you to come to Singapore when the opportunity arises. So more about our privacy laws. The privacy law in Singapore indeed is called the Personal Data Protection Act. And just for our viewers out there, the same abbreviation Personal Data Protection Act or PDPA is also used in Thailand, Malaysia and Indonesia. So do not be confused with these abbreviations, because just, I don't know, was it a pure coincidence or don't know who copy who, but the Personal Data Protection Act is used in 4 countries in Southeast Asia. Again, they are Malaysia, Singapore, Thailand, and Indonesia. Of course, for the Thailand PDPA, it will be enforced next year. They have delayed it because of the pandemic. And in Indonesia, they have announced about it, but they have not passed any laws with regards to Data Protection Act. But stay tuned, I believe it will be passed in due time. So now, about the data protection law in Singapore, yes, it is absolutely right. The government in Singapore, I believe, takes a very serious stand. You can see it through enforcement cases being muted out almost every month, except during the times where we were on serious lockdown. So I think the government has some leniency as well, because the lockdown is really affecting many organizations. Not to mention efficiency of doing anything because of working from home, and of course when we deal with personal data we have to go to the office, so on and so forth. So indeed, I believe our government is spending a lot of effort on personal data protection, and it will take some time for all companies in Singapore to adopt. And I believe mainly it is because we are generally Asians, although we are brought up with a very Western or globalized mindset, but the way we handle operations is still fairly Asian. And I think Asians handle personal data or privacy a little bit different from the West, probably because we typically trust our governments with our data. I mean, it's only recently that in Singapore and many parts of Asia even, that individuals are becoming concerned about personal privacy. I mean, those days where I was a young kid, it's very common for organizations to collect a lot of personal data from all individuals, even the national ID. So I have friends who come to Singapore and they're like, what? You collect so much data? Yes, it is something that's fairly new in Singapore, and only since the implementation or the passing of GDPR in 2018 did I notice that our Singapore government educating the public more on personal data protection. So in time, we will see, or I believe we will see, more and more organizations coming on to proactively protect personal data and the privacy of individuals, not only in Singapore but all over the world. And I think Asia would be playing catch up. So to all my friends from the West, give us some time. I believe we'll be there. So more about a Data Protection Act in Singapore. This is called the PDPA. There were previously 9 obligations, and now it's 11 obligations. So if I have to summarize the Personal Data Protection Act in Singapore, it will be 3 key areas. One will be the handling of the personal unique identifiers, mainly the national ID or the passport numbers. Secondly will be the do not call provisions, where advertising calls and SMSs or messages are not condoned in Singapore, and it can be enforced against a PDPA. So those companies who are going to do telemarketing through messaging or calling will have to seek consent. And the third key provision in the PDPA is really the 11 obligations. Previously we had 9. You can view the video above to listen to the 9 obligations, which were then updated again to 11 early this year in February 2021. So feel free to view my other videos for more about the Personal Data Protection Act. And again, thank you Legility for featuring Singapore, a small tiny country that is working hard, I believe, to make our mark in privacy. So my name is Barnabas, your Data Protection Pal, and I look forward to connecting with you if you want to find out more about the Personal Data Protection Act in Singapore or in Southeast Asia. So meanwhile, take care, stay safe, and do whatever it takes to prevent your cyber attacks in your organization, because it seems that cyber attacks are really common nowadays. So connect with me on social media, and I'll be glad to connect with you. And also, if you'd like to find out more about my game that I invented called Data Heist, ping me and I'll be glad to connect with you, because it is definitely the first game to educate the public and all players about data protection and privacy. So once again, this is Barnabas, your Data Protection Pal, signing off. Thank you, be safe, and be good.